It's still Business Morning on Channels Television. Now, last year, 2024, the federal government had said that they have a target, of the number of meters that they want to acquire. They said they were set to acquire about 3.5 million power meters by the end of the year. And this, of course, it says to meet up with that need of over 7 million households who don't have meters. I wonder if they met up with that. Let's meet a meter manufacturer here in Nigeria, Engineer Durosola Omonigbegun. He is the Chief Executive Officer of Inreli Limited. He's also the acting president of the Association of Meter Manufacturers of Nigeria. Engineer, good morning, and thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Madam Ini, and thank you for having me here today.
Good to have you.
It's a pleasure to be here again.
This meter issue, it's been on for years. We created maps. We thought maps would deal with the problem. But last year, there was a target of 3.5 million meters. I wonder if that target was met. I know you're not the federal government, but at least you're a player in the industry.
And a very concerned player at that. Okay, so last year the target was not met. However, there's a lot that's been put in place, and it's ongoing. We believe this year there will be a whole load of progress in achieving that target and bringing on board other new initiatives from the current administration. So it is envisaged that this year we should meet that target of 3.5 million. And we're in active engagement with government to assure them that cooperating with the meter manufacturers, domestic meter manufacturers, we can achieve this target and make it a recurring thing for the next 3-4 years to ensure that the vision of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is achieved.
But what's the difference between last year and this year? What is it that wasn't done last year that makes you think that because it's done this year, then we will be able to meet up that target?
A very good question. Thank you. You might have seen or heard about some very serious advocacy by the local meter manufacturers under the umbrella of an association called Association of Meter Manufacturers of Nigeria. This was intense in 2023 and a bit last year. The fact is that last year we were expecting that the World Bank project under the DISREP program would deliver at least 2 million meters. And these meters were issued out under international competitive bidding to international companies. For some reason, I think the criteria, we believe the evaluation criteria by the World Bank that is funding that particular program, that evaluation criteria had issues. And also, we believe that by giving it out to international companies who do not know the terrain very well, these are factors that contributed to that program not realizing its objective. There have been a few shall I say, amendments to the execution of the program, which we think will make it achieve its objective. But however, we have demonstrated, the meter manufacturers of Nigeria, we have demonstrated that if this program had been given to Nigerians, we would have delivered all of these meters. For the simple reason that we know the terrain, for the simple reason that the target that or what has been achieved so far in metering Nigerians have been done, funded by the local meter manufacturers under the CAPMI program and the MAP program, which is the Meter Asset Program, Asset Provider Program, through which most people are buying their meters even right now. However, the World Bank project, I think we see that some of the metrics and pricing strategies just did not reconcile and merge to make the objective realized. So we have been invited to the table, and we are actively discussing with a key initiative of the current administration under the presidential metering initiative, and they are being very realistic this time about the execution, the processes, the pricing, and how to roll out these meters. So we know that the PMI, that's the Presidential Metering Initiative, will be more successful, and we believe that given that they are now more ready than ever to start this year, we believe that there will be significant rollout of meters, especially because also the key members of AMON already even have stocks of meters in Nigeria, which the foreign companies that were given these contracts under the World Bank program do not have. So we are ready to roll out. And just last week we had a meeting with the PMI, and most of the issues are being resolved to make sure that when the local manufacturers hit the ground, we will hit the ground running, we will achieve what needs to be done. So this year is very hopeful.
Will this erase the, because I know for a long time there was the conversation of the local manufacturers not being patronized, you know, which I think implies from what you said that the local manufacturers have some meters already down, which have not been used. So do you see this erasing that challenge?
Oh, absolutely. It will erase it. But we are also discussing with the government to say that not only erase it, we want a situation, we can achieve a situation where our manufacturers will be responsible for closing the entire 7 million meter gap that has been currently assessed by the regulator. If you go to some of the consultants, they will tell you the meter gap is over 30 million. For instance, if you check the PwC website and you see what they claim it is over 30 million meters. Yes, but so one of the key things our advocacy achieved, and I must say that advocacy involved a bit of, you know, trade-off and some strong arm tactics on both sides. But I must commend the president. The President Bola Ahmed Tinubu invited us to the table. We came to the table, and they saw that the local meter manufacturers have capacity. They're still arguing that capacity, but we are ready to demonstrate that employ us and we will do a good job. And I'm happy to say...
Good job in quality also, because that also used to be on the table.
Absolutely,
the quality
absolutely.
Of the meters manufactured in the country.
Thank you for that, bringing up that point. Like I said, meter asset providers, local providers have provided majority, 90% of the 6 million meters that are in Nigeria. Do you have a problem with the quality? Failure rate is very low. The meters are accurate, and they undergo significant and substantial testing from the Nigeria Electricity Management Services Agency. So before you can put a meter on in the Nigerian market, the engineers at NEMSA will first type test that particular model. And now when you type test, they give you a certificate. Some meters don't pass it, they don't come into the system. When they give you that certificate, then you can bring in bulk meters. When you bring in the bulk meters, they also do a statistical sampling and routine tests on every consignment that you bring in. So you can be assured that what we bring in will be even better than what the foreign companies bring in. Reason? Because I'm not leaving Nigeria. When I bring in something, I'm going to stand by it. I have to, because you can call me. When XYZ brings in, from China brings in his company, his meters, he's going to deliver the meters, install it, and thereafter, he's gone. So if you look at that, I think it's a safer bet to use the Nigerians, because when you use us, we also add so much more value to the economy. Let me stop at that, but I would like to go into what we add to the economy as Nigerians when you give me the chance.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll be employment mostly. Employment. Reduction of the pressure on FX.
Reduction of pressure on FX, you know, and you're looking at it as an economist, well, as a consumer only. But when you look at it as an economist and as an engineer, there's significant backward integration. Backward integration in that our members are big enough now, they are manufacturing meter boxes, trunking, and we are buying cables from the likes of Coleman. I see their advert, so that's very I don't forget. From Coleman, and we're buying substantial volumes from these people. Now, when you bring the guys from overseas, they're just going to bring all of everything from the wherever they're bringing it in and dump it here. But we
creating employment for their own economy.
Yes, and we would also be training, because there is NAPTIM. It's training, the Presidential Metering Initiative is also training 4,000 installers in addition to the maybe like 20,000 installers that we currently employ now. So you can see the multiplier effects in the economy.
So there was an announcement about updated meters and deadline and all of that. And then, you know, at some point they said some meters had stopped working. What's the status of that now?
That's an ongoing process.
But there's no deadline anymore, because I know the deadline expired, was it last year?
No, there is no strict deadline. Ideally, the DISCOs would like that deadline implemented. However, there are systemic issues that make it very difficult. You know, how do you get a customer of mine in Oyo or Shaki to improve or get the codes to update his meter? What if his meter is an obsolete meter? But anyway, this was required of a certain type of meters manufactured at a certain time. But
is it a band A consumer?
No, nothing to do with the band A now. It's to do with the year of manufacture and whether they are STS encrypted meters or not. So because of encryption and progress made in the technology, those meters were manufactured and designed to be able to upgrade. So you just need to upgrade so that the meters can perform more functions, more accuracy, and more communication, which is the basis of smartness anyway. So that is what this
so it's
upgrade
still ongoing.
It's still
but
ongoing.
It's just, there's no strict deadline to it. It's like an ongoing process.
It's an ongoing process. Like I said, we would all like there to be a deadline. However, like I said, the reality is that you must make allowance for people. So what the DISCOs have done is, rather they have automated the process. You just go to their website, download what you need to download, input it into the meter, and the meter will automatically upgrade.
But this is when you're using a prepaid meter. Those using postpaid, I don't think they're anywhere close to this issue of updating.
Some of those using postpaid are also doing that. I think what you might be looking at are those using maybe the obsolete meters that need replacement. It's a different thing if you need replacement, so that your meters can offer current day facilities, you know, so that you can remotely charge or credit your meter and things like that. But otherwise, you know, it's let's just say it's an ongoing process, and it's been simplified, but to the extent that now you just go onto the website, download the necessary tokens, put it in your meter, and the meter responds.
Okay, we're almost out of time, but the issue of penalty for meter bypass, it's not supposed to be a new thing, but power theft is still a major one, and it's because of things like this. How effective is this threat of strict or stiff penalty for meter bypass?
Let me say that the regulator has worked very hard on that. There was a lot of resistance from even the most unexpected quarters, but the regulator has now very recently come up with a new set of penalties for meter bypass, which I guess is why it's part of your talking points. And what they've done now is that they have they have tried to identify all the possible meter bypass and abuse, and to attach specific identifiable penalties to them. Before, it was a crime, but there was no penalty. You would have to go to court, and it depends on how what the outcome of the court process is. But now, you may even still need to go to court. However, there are specific penalties for specific activities.
Yeah, but you know, Engineer, I wonder if this will apply when government agencies and arms are involved, because we do know that MDAs are owing. Ikeja is there, the big one that happened last week or so. The MDAs are owing a whole lot, and it does seem like electricity distributors have their arms tied, because it's the government that is supposed to protect them that's actually doing this.
Yes, it is the government that wants
I noticed the volume of your voice reduced.
Well, it's quite sensitive, if you agree with me. It's quite sensitive. The government wants the distribution companies to increase their CapEx, capital expenditure. How do you increase your capital expenditure when your biggest customers are probably owing 10 years ago, an accumulated debt? So, the case of what happened in Ikeja Disco, for instance, I think has to be handled at the highest level. You cannot play around with the Air Force. You cannot play. They are very key to security. But then also, this is a democratic government. Even in a military government, we wouldn't expect them to do that. So I expect the government to step in at the highest level, because Ikeja Disco is doing well. But if they had this kind of money, for instance, they said 4.3 billion
billions.
They could buy a few more meters from me, and also they could buy a few more transformers to reduce the ATC and C.
And then you could employ more people.
I could employ more
and then
people.
That would be more revenue for the economy.
And the energy provision will be more reliable and stable.
All right, Engineer, we really have to stop here. The Engineer Durosola Omogbenigun is the Chief Executive Officer of INRELI Limited, and also the Acting President, Association of Meter Manufacturers of Nigeria. Thank you so much. And this is obviously a continuous conversation. We hope to have you soon again.
We'll be happy to come back, especially later in the year, to say PMI has bought meters from us.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Let's take a break now. When we come back, Willie Bong is waiting with global news right there in the studio. Stay with us.